Hey guys, hope you're having a great day as well as a great life. So, I just hit the full Police record, Ghost in the Machine, and for some reason, the last few days, like the ending discussion after listening to the album has stuck with me, and I haven't been able to get them out of my head. Man, what a phenomenal band. And I mean, that's obvious, right? Like every Police song we've hit, we've loved. Every one that I listen to, I think is fantastic. I can't think of literally one bad song that we've heard from them so far. And Ghost in the Machine for me was no different. I thought it was a fantastic record. But there are great songs and great albums and great bands. And then there are bands that almost reach another tier to me. I mean, I guess we'd put it like an S tier for songs on the channel. And for me, I think the Police are in that category. You know, one thing that I think makes the Police so special is a lot of bands, even your favorite ones, Zeppelins, The Who, Rolling Stones, name your pick. They feel as though they change over the years, and they're changing by discovering who they are, what their voice is, and really delving into how can they make that come across in the best way possible? How can they be their authentic selves? And I think that's what makes so many people connect with bands like that. I mean, I think of a band like Zeppelin and how they've changed. They're one of my favorites. And going from, you know, some of the stuff at the beginning, which is so raw but so bombastic, and you go later on in their career, they still have a lot of those same elements, but now they're putting in folk elements and pulling from different genres, and it's a really cool transition to see, and it's one of the reasons I love the band. But listening to the Police, at least on the Ghost in the Machine record, which is one that they're using synth for the first time, or at least to that degree, I could not help the thought that, man, from their first record to their last record, they were the same thing. I feel like you could pull up the last song the Police wrote and the first song the Police wrote, and they fit the same vibe. And I think that's so cool because it feels like they knew exactly who they were from the start. And it's also not like anyone else I can think of, this mix of jazz and punk and reggae and pop elements that culminate to this such unique listening experience. But again, it feels like they just had it from the get-go. And I think one of those things, I actually noticed it when I was looking at their Spotify, playing through a bunch of their songs, just like thinking about them in general after the record. And this is one of the first times I've ever realized this. I'll put it on the screen here. But their top 5 songs on Spotify, every single one of them is from a different album. All 5 of their albums have at least one song that is in their top 5, which is really unique to me. I looked at a bunch of other bands, and usually you'll have, like, obviously a smattering of albums, but there might be an album that has 2 or 3 hits. That was their big record. Even if they're a huge band, usually there's something like that. It's so unique to me that every one of their top 5 is different. And also, they had 5 albums. So one song from each one of those albums is on there. And I played through all 5. The 5 on there are Every Breath You Take, Roxanne, Message in a Bottle, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, and Don't Stand So Close to Me. And each one of those, playing one after the other, it feels cohesive. Besides like recording differences, if each one of those songs were recorded at the same time, put on an album, I wouldn't hear a difference, which is like a very subtle, small thing. But I don't know. I was thinking about a band like Pink Floyd, for example. If you put on a song from The Wall versus Metal versus like Piper at the Gates of Dawn, they feel very, very different. And that difference, it's not bad. I love it. But I just couldn't help but kind of be in awe over the fact that such a unique sounding band from the very beginning had that. And that unique sound is so much cooler the more you delve into it. Every time I hear it, that's not just like a, casual listening experience, which they're also very good for, but like in headphones, I'm sitting down to like appreciate the music. I am consistently blown away. Stuart Copeland is a master on the drums, and he is one of the few drummers in popular music that plays with the volume of his notes to the degree he does. I feel like most people, and I think I said it in the video, but I feel like most drummers are concerned with what are they playing, not how they're playing it. And it lends this dynamic to his volume. He can play groove with just a hi-hat, a snare, and a kick drum, and just playing with the individual volume of how he hits the hi-hat, accenting weird things that other people wouldn't typically do. I feel like if you sat down 10 drummers, had them play to a song, none of them would really come close to what he's doing unless they're trying to. And that to me is so cool. It feels like he found the musicality and the beauty in something that people just overlooked. I'll play a snippet here. And it's so subtle. that if you're not paying attention to it, you lose it. And really the only reason I notice it is because, one, I've known fantastic drummers who appreciate Stuart Copeland and have pointed those things out, and also from you guys in the comments who point those things out in real time. But it's another one of those ways that kind of sets them apart to me, in that depending on how hard you want to listen, we'll show you more and more things, and I just love that. And so you have this intricate depth of drums with this kind of minimalist attitude mixed with Summer's fantastic guitar work. You get these reggae influences that match the punk vibe of the drums, and it melds into this perfect union. And then you have Sting, who is playing such cool bass, singing so well, and you get a pop element from him, a jazzy element in the way he sings. I mean, his melodies feel all over the place in the best way, unpredictable, very much like jazz itself. And you end up getting these interesting polyrhythms that somebody pointed out on the last song between the bass and the drums that give this interesting pulse while still grooving perfectly. And again, to me, they're one of those bands that I think it kind of sums it up for them, where that the more you see, the more you listen, the more you get. And I think that comes across even with the lyrics. A lot of the songs on Ghost in the Machine had pretty in-depth, powerful meanings that as a casual listen, I might not have gotten. I would have just heard the pop elements, the good song, the great writing, and that's where I would have met them. But hearing it with the lyrics on the screen, I'm like, wow, this is saying some pretty profound, interesting things. And the fact that that's able to come across in this very clearly incredibly palatable way. I mean, it sounds like pop music. It's popular. It's good. It's like really, really well written. And yet they're getting across so much. And I just love that. And so to have a band that had all of those elements from day one, with Roxanne all the way into their later stuff, it doesn't matter. It's all there. And that is just so cool to me, because there are so many bands that spend their whole career spanning way more than 5 albums just trying to find themselves. And that's a noble journey, and I love seeing that. And it's, sometimes what you got to do. But to me, it's also cool to highlight the fact that this band, who is incredibly complex and very unique, knew who they were on day one, and all they did was explore that, different facets of what that might look like. All they did was be their authentic selves and put a filter over it. That filter could be, we're talking about politics now. Or it could be, hey, synths are becoming bigger and we're interested in this new technology. What does it sound like when we utilize that? And no matter what that filter was, it didn't change the picture you're looking at. And I just think that's so incredible. It's so nerdy. I don't even know if I'm going to release this video because it's a bit, heady. But the last few days, I have not been able to get it out of my head. And so, yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at this. Listen to their top 5 on Spotify, top 6, whatever that is, and realize that spans their entire career. And if you had heard each of those songs on the same album, recorded the same day, so they don't have like the obvious changes in mix, I think they all fit. And I think the fact that they knew authentically who they were and were able to convey that in such an immaculate way kind of speaks volumes. And I think it's cool as hell. And just very happy to have heard Ghost in the Machine. Can't wait to hear the next one. Thank you so much. See you next video.
Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. If you had a good time watching that video, go and upvote the video, subscribe if you're not already. Check out some other videos here on the YouTube or on the Patreon if you want extra juicy stuff you can't get on YouTube, because